कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद। जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव नित्य गौरा हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखागिरांश। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांद राधा कांद नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण एवरीवन। Can I hear a Hare Krishna?
हरे कृष्णा माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
हरे कृष्णा माता जी।
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. It's so nice to hear everyone saying, no? It makes us so energetic. Okay. So today's contents of the Gita summarized. So in today's chapter, Krishna will give an overview what Bhagavad Gita is all about. And the first lesson of Bhagavad Gita will be taught today. Okay. So before that, what are the, quickly, please raise your hand, who knows it. What are the 5 reasons why Arjuna was not ready to fight? Purna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
It's sin, compassion, family tradition, no enjoyment.
Someone is chanting at your home? A kid? I heard a kid chanting. Okay, I can't hear you. Kavita Mataji? Where's Sanila Mataji, right? Can't hear you. Abhishek Prabhu?
Mataji, it was sin, compassion, no family enjoyment, family killing of family tradition, and it was fear.
Yes. Good. Okay. Yes. Not fear, sin. No, sin. He thought he'll inquire sin. Or there is compassion, then no enjoyment, a sin, family traditions will be lost, and indecision. Right? These were the 5 reasons. Okay. So these were the 5 reasons. These were the 5 reasons why Arjuna was not ready to fight. Right? So after that, now Krishna is going to give a nice reply to all these questions what Arjuna asked. Okay, he's going to. Okay, so he's going to give all the answers related to all these questions. Okay, whatever questions Arjuna had, see, compassion, no enjoyment, sin, validation, indecision. So Krishna will break all these. Now, before that, we should understand a little bit about Krishna, who Krishna is. And there are 3 stages of God realization. When you say God, when Prabhupada went to America, there was no one who was knowing who's God. Everyone used to say God is light, God is love, God is that, this, but nobody could give the definition, or nobody could say who he really was. So there are 3 stages of God realization. First is the Brahman. Brahman means the light, or when people say God is light, okay, there is a light, but there's some energy is there. There's an energetic behind it. But where is that light coming from? It can't just come like that. So the light is coming, effulgence is coming from the Lord's body, and that is called the Brahman. Brahman, Brahmajyoti, or the Brahman effulgence. People think that is God. No, that's just the impersonal aspect of the Lord. Then we come to know that the Lord is in our heart, in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Krishna says that in 2 places in Bhagavad Gita, that he is in our heart as Paramatma. Okay, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishtam. He also says Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hrudesha Arjuna Tishtiti. He is residing in all our heart, but we don't realize, not everyone realize God. So something called self-realization, or that is Atmagaveshan, or God realization, goes hand in hand. We should know that the Lord is in our heart as Paramatma. That's a localized. Okay. Once you know a little more about the Lord, you know he's a person. He's a personality of Godhead, and a person not like us, but not with this material body, but he has a spiritual body, and his name is Krishna, means all attractive. The exam given, I think it will come as a quiz question. This can come compared. So you have sunlight. You see the light, okay, of the sun, and that is the compared to the Brahman aspect of the Lord. Then you go little more near, you know, there's a sun planet, and then there's a sun God, a personality. Same way, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are the 3 stages of the realization. Why you call him Bhagavan? Bhaga means all these 6 opulences. He's full and full with all these opulences. Beauty. Krishna is the most handsome and the most beautiful person in the whole creation, or whatever spiritual and material worlds. Why? We say Kantarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Thousands of cupids get attracted to Krishna. That's why he's called Madana Mohana. So beauty. Rich, he is the richest. I mean, thousands of Lakshmis are serving him. Lakshmi Sahasra Sada Sambrahma Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I'm quoting Brahma Samhita, and it says he's the richest. Okay. And famous. Even now, 5,000 years ago, this Bhagavad Gita happened, and even now we are discussing about him. Who will remember us after 100 years? No one. Even our ancestors, I mean, our grandchildren won't remember our name, or at least no. But Krishna is so famous that all his pastimes are so famous. Strength, at the age of 7, Krishna lifted Govardhan hill with his left hand pinky finger. 7 days, the most strongest. Knowledge, Krishna as Vedavyas have compiled all the Vedic literatures, and he says Vedaisya Sarvairahameva Vidyam Vedanta Krit Veda Videva Chaham. He is the compiler of Vedas. So yes, knowledge comes from him. And renunciation, he is not attached to anything. Nothing gets attached to him. So all the 6 opulences, full and full, is in the Lord. In material world, in material world, we might be most beautiful, but we may not be rich. We might be rich, but we may not have good knowledge. We might be the strongest, but we may not be famous. If you're famous and beautiful, you may not have good knowledge or anything. You have these combinations of these qualities, right? But if you see someone full and full, 100 out of 100 in all these qualities, that's Bhagavan. Okay, so you call Bhagyavan someone who's fortunate, Dhanavan someone who's rich. But these are just one quality, but the whole quality is with the Lord. So why we are emphasizing on this subject is we should know who God is and who have spoken Bhagavad Gita. Now, Krishna was showing a good quality of guru. Why do you think Krishna is a best guru here? Who can answer?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Huh.
The nature of guru is to tell after the disciple asks. We should not
Yes.
tell before he asks.
Yes. So that is one thing. Krishna was a good listener and he was showing how a quality of a good guru is, right? Yes. So Krishna never advised Arjuna till now. He was listening and now he starts speaking, okay, in the second chapter about the different. Yes, he was listening and that's the good thing. So we have given 2 ears and 1 mouth. We should listen more. No, listen more. First we listen, Shravanam, then Kirtanam, then we talk. Shri Bhagavanavaja kutastva kashvalam itam vishame samupastitam anarya jashtam asvargam akirti karam Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. Krishna is asking, you're a big Kshatriya, Arjuna. You know the story, you know, how Krishna, Arjuna showed the eye of the parrot, and then he was shooting the eye of a fish. All that we know how great Kshatriya he was. And now Krishna is asking, what happened to you? You are telling that you're not able to fight. We saw in the first chapter, Arjuna was just tired and sweating and not ready to fight. And Krishna is like, no, this is not, you're not supposed to do this, right? And here he surrenders to Krishna. Yes, Barka chant.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी कार्पण्य दोषोपहता स्वभावा प्रच्चामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढचेता यच्चेयसान्निष्ठितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं चादिमां त्वं प्रपन्नम्.
Okay, so here, now when we are in problem, what should we do? We should also surrender to higher authority. We should also go to the right person who can advise us. Here, Arjuna is saying, Shishyasteham shadimam tum prapannam. I have become your shishya or disciple. Please instruct me. So unless we surrender, we won't be able to understand the science of spiritual knowledge. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of my surly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a soul surrender to you. Please instruct me. Sometimes when we are in problem, we don't know what decision to take in life because we're not much experienced. We'll go to a senior person, might be your relative, your friend, or your parents, or whoever it is, your best person, and then or a role model or someone to be take shelter of, and you go to that person and say, please tell me what's best for me. This is my situation. So Arjuna is like, this is my situation. I can't fight with my cousins and teachers and all. Please tell me what to do. And this was Krishna's plan. So Krishna had made the situation come in life, so that come in Arjuna's life, so that he can instruct Bhagavad Gita. So when situations bark at you, when life is barking at you or just throwing stones and pebbles at you, just don't get depressed, because Krishna has a plan for it. And might be something we're going to learn a lesson from that, or we're going to do something good about it. We should see the positive aspect of it, right? So that's what Arjuna did. Arjuna just surrendered to Krishna. If Arjuna didn't surrender, Krishna won't have instructed. First is surrendering. Okay, whom do we surrender? We should surrender to a guru, who's the representative of the Lord. Okay. Tam uvaja hrishikesha prahassan iva bharata seveyorubayor madhye visiddantam idam vacha. Okay, so who's Rishikesha and what is the meaning of Rishikesha? Who's going to tell me? Rishikesha means what? Yesterday we learned. Put it in the chat if you know. Yes, Kriti. Rishikesha means?
Yes, Mataji. Rishikesha means the controller of our senses, Mataji.
Very good. So master of sense, who's Krishna, right? So, O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Now Krishna got starting to Shri Bhagavan Vaja Ashochan Anvasauchastam Pratnyavedamscha Bhasyase Gatasun Agatasumscha Nanushochanti Pandita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. What are you doing, Arjuna? You are crying. You are lamenting. For what? Those who are wise should not lament for those who live or those who are dead. Why? We'll see. The second chapter talks only about that. Why we should not lament for a person who's dead, And a person who's suffering, you can see in this picture, he doesn't have a leg. But what is the use of saying that, oh, so pitiful, he's not having a leg, and okay, we can help him. But then what is the use of sitting and crying for whatever is happening in life? Let's see what karma is and what we really are. Natva evaham jadu nasham natvam ne me janatipa nachayvana bhavishyama sarve vayam ataparam. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in future shall any of us cease to be. Now Krishna is saying something different. Never was there a time I did not exist. So Krishna is breaking the rules of atheism. Atheists or non-devotees, I mean the asuras, the demonic qualities, they think there's no God. I don't believe in all this, and there's no God. But Krishna himself says there was never a time when he did not exist. That means he was there from the beginning of creation. When you say the creation happened just by breaking off a chunk, a Big Bang theory, who created the explosion, or who is that? What is that force behind it? There's an energy behind it, and for the energy to come, there is an energetic. And people don't believe in the existence of God, but Krishna broke the philosophy here itself, and he's saying you also existed. All these kings, Kauravas, all of them were there, okay, and they'll continue to be. And so Krishna here again, he says about the Dvaita philosophy. We are not one, we are two. I is different, you are different. We're not one and the same, but we are two. Again, he breaks Mayavadism here. Now, Krishna speaks about the first basic lesson of Bhagavad Gita, that you are not what you think you are. What does that mean? When we ask someone, who are you? It's just, I'm Aishwarya, I'm so and so, and I'm here, and I. But actually, are you that? Are you this body? You can see here, I just say, this is my hair, this is my eyes, this is my nose. Who am I? Okay, this is my hand, but who am I? And when the so-called death, what happens? What happens at the so-called death, Mahadev Prabhu? Who leaves the body? So who are we actually? Who are we? That's the first question we should ask ourselves. Is Abhishek, who are we?
Soul.
The
Just a
soul. The spirit soul, right? We're not this body. See, when someone passes away, or someone dies, or someone leaves, the body is lying there. We can see them lying there, but who have left? We say he passed away, but he's still there. His body is there. So we had a misidentification that, oh, we are this body. Even we think like, this is my body, and I am this, and this is one life. I have only one life, enjoy to the maximum. That's what a misconception we have having. Not all of us, 99% of the population thinks that I'm this body, or everything, whatever belongs to me, these are all mine. No, when time comes, all of us has to go. But who is going? Atma, right? The soul. The concept of soul is very clear to us. But then there is something called Paramatma, or super soul. We'll see that. Now this body is made up of the 5 Bhutas, Pancha-bhutas, okay? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Now this is what the body is made up of. Okay, this body, that is what you can see. Now there is a soul inside the heart. There's a soul, a subtle part. Now there is a subtle body. This is the gross body, which you can see. And then you have the soul. You also have a subtle body called mind, intelligence, and false ego. Okay, I'll discuss that. Okay, now you know the difference between living and non-living. We all know the living things like people, animal, plants, they grow, and we animals and people, they move around and they grow. Why? Because there is a soul. But non-living things, there is no soul, and so there's not moving. So this is the first lesson in Bhagavad Gita, that we are not this body. So Krishna is like, Arjuna, why are you lamenting? You're telling you're going to kill all of these people. They are not the body, they're soul. And now Krishna speaks about the properties of the soul, that the soul cannot be killed. So another example given is car and the driver. So you can see a car, nice car, okay, outside, the nice polished ones, nice with all this branded, nice big posh cars. And then inside there's a driver. Unless there's a driver, except for the automatic car, still there should be a controller, someone to operated, right? So that is the So car and the driver, this is the analogy given for the soul and the body. Okay, so where is the soul situated is, can you hear me, Harsh, co-host? Sorry, I had some. Okay, so soul is situated in the heart. The soul is situated in the heart. We can't see the soul. It is 1 by 10,000, the tip of the hair. Keshagrabhar. So that is what the Shastra says. The soul. Hare Krishna. Barka, can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank
We
you.
can, we can.
Oh,
We can.
okay, thank you. So the soul, which is situated in the heart. Okay. Now, along with the soul, there's someone else there. We'll see. Another example, like car and the driver, there's bird and a cage. Okay, there's a bird, there's a cage, and you polish the cage. You don't feed the bird. What happens to the bird? You can put in the chat too. What happens to the bird if you don't feed the bird? Yes, Saket, you're right. Nisha, Mataji, you're right. Yes, it'll die. The bird will die. You're not feeding anything. Same way, we are, this body is like a cage, and you're polishing this cage like anything. You're putting shampoo and soap and whatnot, and nourishing it. Nice food. You're giving nice food to the stomach and all that. But what about the soul? What about the bird inside the cage? We are actually missing the point. So yesterday we spoke that we are missing the point. That's why we're not happy in life. That's why, because we are not giving anything to the soul. We need to strengthen the soul. We need to give it, nourish the soul. Then only we'll be eternally happy. From the body, you might feel nice pleasure, but then when there is some cut in the body, you are again disturbed. And in the mind, you might feel peaceful, but sometimes you hear some news and you're disturbed. So your mental peace also will be broken. But the soul, the happiness you get from your soul, the real you, is never lost. It's never lost. It's always existing. So we need to give some food for the soul, and that is what the Mahamantra does. That's what a spiritual life does. So we are started a spiritual journey. So the more you nourish the soul, it's going to become more stronger. So we are spirit, soul, Jiva Atmas. Okay, we are Atma or Jiva Atma. Jiva Atmas it's called. Okay. And now this is an important sloka. You can all try to memorize it. It's a nice sloka. Yes, Shreya.
Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavaram jara tata dehantara prapte dhiras tatra namuhyati.
Okay, so here it is said, now, Dehinosmin yada dehe kaumaram yavaram jara. So you can see in this picture, what can you see here? So this is the book I was talking about, Science of Self-Realization. So nothing about Krishna, nothing about spirituality. This book is, it's a gem. It's so nice to read this book. It's only about soul. You just keep on reading this book, you feel like, wow, I didn't know many things about the soul. So that book is really good. So it comes as a package with Bhagavad Gita's package. So we'll share the link in the WhatsApp group. You can order it. So you can see here, when we were born, we had a small baby body, right? Where did that body go? We are growing. So we grew, and then so the body is growing. But what about the soul? You can see in the heart, the soul is the same. Okay, the person is growing. We are growing. But then when we get old, and there's something called death comes. Now, when death comes, what happens? The soul leaves the body. That we know, right? Someone passed away. We say the soul left. The soul left, but where is the soul going? It's going to another body. It might get moksha, that is liberation. If it gets liberation, it go back to Godhead. But if it doesn't get moksha, it goes to another body. This is what Bhagavad Gita speaks. On the first chapter, Krishna breaks, the fear of death from a person, because death is what is fearful for all of us. Either we might die, or our relatives are kith and kin will die, and we might be alone. So the death factor, it might be a cancer, it might be corona, it might be some accident or something, whatever it is, death is sure for everyone, right? Whoever has taken birth has to die one day. It's for sure. Nobody can prevent birth, death, old age, disease. That's there. That is there. But still, where does the soul go? It goes to another body. Dehinosmin yada dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tada dehantara praptir. That means the soul goes to another body. Dhiras tatra namuhyati. One who knows this is not bewildered. So Krishna, the fear of death. That's why Bhagavad Gita is a life manual, don't you think so? Because I've seen in psychiatric department so many people, especially youngsters, when when someone die in the family, they are in a shock. They can't come out of it. They are depressed. They have insomnia. They don't have sleepless nights and all these problems. And they are into drugs, pills, for sleeping pills. They're not able to come out of that stress. Okay, whatever the death, so-called death in the family. But Krishna takes away the fear of death, right? Because he says the soul never dies. So whoever your grandmother or grandfather who have left the body, that person is not gone anywhere. He's still there, but he might have gone to another body because we thought this body is him or her, we got misunderstood. So I hope you're clear. We are not this body, we are spirit soul. And what happens to the soul? The soul remains the same as we grow, but at the time of death, it goes to another body. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at the time of death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. We'll see by example. You can see here. So this is not the first Janma we have. How many in this class think that we have this? How many things about Sat Janma? 7 life. We had 7 life. Or is this the only life we have? Srikant Prabhu think about 7 life. Priya Mataji also okay, about 7 lives. Good. So for example, there were 6 babies born. I think on Saturday. It was like last week. There were 6 babies born in my hospital. 6. And each baby have different background. In a sense, one baby was rich, one was poor, one baby's parents had some disease, and other. So each one, okay, so their fate is different. Each 6 babies born in the same hospital at the same time almost, but still have different destinies, fate. Why? This is because of karma. Why? Where is that karma coming from? From the previous life. But just 7 lives? Do you really think so? 7 lives? Let's see what Bhagavad Gita talks about it. Okay, now we'll give an example. This is our life cycle. We all are born, we grow, we reproduce, and then we become old and die. The example given is, you all would have had a tricycle, right? When you are like young, kindergarten, LKG and all. You're riding it. As you grow old, you'll get a bicycle. And still older, in maybe college, you'll have a 2-wheeler. And then still you become old, you might have a car. Now, who's driving all these 3? Same person, right? So same way, the soul is the same. Your external body might grow, change. And once this car is broken down, I mean, I can't use it anymore, I buy a new car, might be a red color car. And then I change from the driver's seat of the blue car to the red car. Similarly, when this body is not to be used anymore, when it becomes degenerated, or when my kidneys fail and liver, everything stop functioning, then the soul can't stay in this body anymore. It takes another body. That's it. It's so simple, no, to explain. But then, yes, to accept it in reality, it's a problem. Because when death comes in the family, that's the most unexpected thing. Nobody expects death, but then it's unexpected. But then how to overcome it? That's what Krishna says, how to overcome it. And this is, so those who raised your hand, they are not right. Because see, you can see here, we didn't take only 7 janmas. And 7 janmas, you're telling about human? No, we have taken so many janmas, 84 lakh species of life we have undergone. And we were an animal, we were a plant, we were an insect, whatnot. And then finally we got this human form. So just imagine how special human form of life is. Only in human form of life can you inquire, who am I? Where did I come from? Where should I go? What's my real duty? Why am I not happy in life? Why good things, bad things happen to good people? What is all this happening? Only a human being can think about it, right? And inquire about it, not animals. So the consciousness level is more in a human being. So we have undergone 84 lakh species of life. My soul was in the body of a crocodile. My soul was in the body of a dolphin and a tree, whatnot. And then finally I got the human form of life. So 84 lakh species of life. Isn't amazing to know that? So we have gone through this process of birth and death millions of times. So we need to end this. How long are we going to suffer again and again? The 4 main problems in our life is birth, death, old age, and disease. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, dosha, and darshana. So this is a human cycle. We take birth, we grow, we get married, then you mature, then you become old, and the death comes. Right? But Krishna says you don't have to worry because it is just temporary. Arartika, read the sloka. So the concept of soul is clear. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkada, Agamo Paino Nityas, Tam Stitiksasva Bharata.
Agama paino anityas. There is a here. Okay. Anityas. Matra sparshastu kamdeya. Shita ushna sukha dukkha. Krishna says Shita and Ushna, like summer and winter, it keeps coming and going. Right? In summer, we have nice mangoes and all that. And in winter, all the trees lose the leaves. So summer and winter, it keeps happening. Same way, happiness and distress will keep happening. It's like the different side of the same coin. So it just keeps coming. One time you're happy, the other time you're sad. So problems keep coming, happiness keeps coming in life, but it's temporary. It's temporary. So we need to tolerate it. So like summer seasons, the seasons keep changing, happiness and distress keeps coming according to your karma. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer. They arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So if we know we are not this body, we are spirit soul, then how will happiness and distress affect you? No? But to accept it, understand it, and to apply practical in life is little different. That is the different stage. But first, we should know, and Krishna is saying, Arjuna, just understand, we are not this body, we are spirit soul. So now what is your problem in fighting? Okay, so you can see here, summer and winter keeps coming and going, like that happiness and distress keep coming and going in life. Na jayate mriyate va kadashin nayam bhutva pavitavana bhuya ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Very important sloka. It says, for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. So when we say happy birthday to you, we mean happy birthday to your body, not your soul, because your soul is eternal. It is not, there's no birth and death for the soul. He's unborn. That's why here Mayavadism, this is the Advaita philosophy, which says we are one and the same. Yes, we are one in quality, because the soul is also Sachidananda, eternal. Krishna, the Lord, is also eternal, Sachidananda. But in quantity, we are not the same. So in general, we are not the same. Okay, but then they take only the first half and they say we are one with the God. How can we become one with the God? We are two different, because we'll see Bhagavad Gita speaks about two birds sitting on the same tree, because the Atma or the Jivatma, the soul, and Paramatma or the super soul, the Lord, both are in our heart. When the soul leaves the body, the so-called death comes, the Paramatma, the super soul, also leaves the body. Okay, eternal, full, and the Satchitananda means eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Okay, and then Krishna speaks, the death is like changing your dress, because the body is like a dress. Vasamsi chirnani yada vihaya navani grihnadi naro parani tata sharirani vihaya chirnani anyani samyadi navani dehi. So when you sing the Sanskrit slokas, there's some meters called Anushtup Chandas. There's meter 8, meter 10 and 12. But when so some slokas you sing it and the others of different meters. So if you can't, it's okay. You can just keep reading it. Okay. Now, when your dress become dirty, you obviously change it, right? Do you cry? Oh, my dress is dirty. And do you cry when you change the dress? Krishna is saying, same way as a person puts new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material body, giving up old and useless ones. So Bhagavad Gita talks about death as a just normal process. Normal. When you have a white hair, when you're aging, you see a white hair, and do you feel bad? Oh, I'm growing old, but then you can't hide it for so long, because old age is normal for everyone. Same way, death is also a normal process. We need to accept it. When the karma of a particular soul is finished in that body, the the soul has to leave the body. We'll see the story of Chitraketu Maharaj. I think it's coming. Now it's the property of the soul. What is the soul made up of? What is the property? Nainam chintanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshyati maruta. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon. So Arjuna was having which weapon in his hand? What was Arjuna's weapon called? Please unmute and say, who knows? Only Purna is answering. No one, everyone is sleeping. Abhishek is also answering. Who else? Lekha Mataji.
Gandiva.
Gandiva. That is the bow. Good, thank you. Gandiva. So with that Gandiva, when Arjuna was fighting to all the Kauravas and all his enemies, with that bow, he has to shoot them, right? And they will die. Now Krishna is saying that the soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon. So if the Gandiva, he throws an arrow from his Gandiva bow and kill, and so-called death comes to the material body of a Kauravas, his cousins, how can that be called as killing or death? Because the soul never dies and it cannot be cut with any weapon. So the property of the soul is that it cannot be cut with any weapon. It cannot be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, not withered by wind. So Bhagavad Gita also takes away the thing saying that suicide is never a solution for any problems in life. Any problems, it's not the end, because you are destroying the material body. What about the soul? That's why at least this chapter should be there, introduced to all the college, because the teenagers are going through so much stress. The only solution they think about is something very weird, but then that's not a solution. And Bhagavad Gita warns you that what are we trying to destroy? Are we trying to destroy this material body? But the soul is different. The soul is never dies. It goes to another body. So this is from Bhagavatam, 6th canto. Srimad Bhagavatam talks about story of Chitraketu Maharaj. Chitraketu was a king and he had so many wives, but he never got a son. So you know the kings, they have to give the kingdom to the next generation. So he was so much lamenting to have a son. And then he prayed. So finally Angira Muni blessed him to have a son. But he told him, because of the son, you're going to be happy and sad. So the son is going to be named as Harsha Shoga. Harsha means happy, Shoga means sad. He agreed and he got a son from the first wife. But the other wives, they all became jealous. Obvious, natural. Because he was spending more time with his first wife and he was so happy with this child that he was neglecting all the other wives. And what did they do? They did something wrong. They gave poison to the baby because they want to just get their husband back. And because of that, the baby, the soul left the body. Chitraketu Maharaj started lamenting like anything because he desired to have a son for so long. And finally, when he got a son, just because of some silly mistake of his wife's, he lost the son. He was lamenting. He could not come out of the depression. And that's the right time when Narad Muni came with Angira Muni and started advising Chitraketu Maharaj. So before advising, Narad Muni called that soul back. Okay, the soul had left, but he called him back, and the son got up and asked, and Narad Muni told, "This is your father." And you know what the son said? "Father, in which life, in which janma he was my father?" Like, and then Chitraketu was like, "What? I thought this is my only life. I thought you're my only son." And no. And then Chitraketu Maharaj became a great devotee. Narad Muni started advising the science of soul, that the soul leaves the body. That's called death. And once it leaves the body, it doesn't die. It goes to another body, right? So we should not lament. Yes, the lamentation is there when someone leaves the body, when our near ones leave, we miss them and we lament. But Krishna is like, don't get depressed, come out of it, because the soul never dies. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat apariharyarta natvam shochitamarhasi. One who has taken birth is sure to die. And after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So Krishna is like, don't lament, Arjuna, get up and fight. Okay, I think these are the lessons for us, right? So we think this is my permanent body. Prabhupada give an example. You go on to a train, you've reserved your seats. You have third AC, second AC, and whatnot, and you are so decorating your berth very beautifully. And then when the time comes that this you reached your destination, you have to get down. You can't say this is my compartment or this is my berth and I'm going to be only here. No, that's temporary. So same way, we are in this material body for a short time, temporary time. And in this temporary period, we think everything belongs to me and everything is mine, and we forget the soul. What's going to happen to the soul? So we should not just think about only about the body. We should always think about the soul. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Arjuna don't have to think that, oh, so much sin, I'm going to kill Dronacharya, my teacher. Krishna says, anyway, Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya are old. Now, anyway, the death is going to come to them, right? So anyway, after death, what will happen? They might get a nice body, new body, or since they are pious, they go to heavenly planets, right? So why are you worried? You are doing your dharma. This is your dharma, Kshatriya, to fight. Dehi nityam avadyo yam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natam shochitam arhasi. Soul who dwell in the body can never be slain. Therefore, there is no need of lamentation. So Krishna is cheering up Arjuna. Okay. Hato va prapshasi swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmat uddishta kaunteya yudhaya kritanishchaya. O son of Kunti, either you will be, now there are two options. If Arjuna fight, two options are there. Either he wins or he loses. So Krishna is saying either you will be killed on the battlefield, that is you lose. And if you lose, since you are pious, you go to heavenly planets. Or you will win and you conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. See, two things can happen, right? Arjuna, either he can lose, that is, all the Pandavas will be defeated. And when they die, when the so-called death comes to the Pandavas, since they are pious, they go to heavenly planets. They won't go actually because they are eternal associate of the Lord. They'll go back to the Lord, his kingdom. Whatever it is, he can enjoy there. Okay, if Arjuna didn't die, I mean, the death doesn't come, or there is victory, what happens? Yudhishthira will become the king, they get the Hastinapur, and they can enjoy. So this is the second question, what Arjuna asked. No enjoyment. How will I enjoy Krishna? Now, Krishna is saying there is enjoyment. If you lose also, you enjoy. If you win also, you enjoy. So Krishna is, giving a lot of arguments against his arguments, right? Counter argument. Like he told compassion, sin. So Krishna says, we are not this body, we are spirits. Then he says no enjoyment. Krishna says you are enjoying. If you die also, if you win also, you're enjoying. And then when he says about indecision, should I fight or not? Krishna is like, your enemies will describe you in unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful to you? They'll say, Arjuna is so coward. He's a darpok. He's so coward that he's not fighting, right? And Krishna is like, what will others say about you? It's so painful. You're Kshatriya. For Kshatriya, it's so painful to hear others saying. And then Krishna says, a small thing that you do is never lost. Yes, Barka.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Neha Vikramana Sosti Pratyavayo na Vidyate Swalpam api asya dharmasya Trayate mahato bhayat.
Okay, so what is Krishna saying here is, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect from the great dangerous type of fear. So knowing about the soul, knowing about God is never a loss in your life. Don't think 1 hour I'm losing, or I could have just watched a movie or something. It's never a loss. Whatever you know about the Lord, because whatever knowledge I get in this life, I can't take it to my next life, that material knowledge. But spiritual knowledge, it's always continuing because it's going to the soul. Okay, so there was Gajendra, an elephant, who was caught by a crocodile in the lake. And he was fighting for thousands of years, but nobody came to help him. And finally, he took a lotus flower and gave it to the Lord. And then Lord accepted it, and that saved him from so much danger. And there was a rat who was behind a chair or something. And then he saw a lamp lighting. There was a whisk. And then he took it. He thought it's something to eat. and he did like this, but he died because it was burning him. And but then, since he did some kind of a puja in the temple, where he was in the temple, he got moksha. So moksha, liberation, is what everyone desire for, because you have to end the cycle of birth, death, old age, disease, and that's possible only by taking to spiritual life, only by understanding who we are, understanding who Lord is, and doing some kind of service to them. Any service done is never lost. Okay, so there was a squirrel who helped Lord Ram to make a bridge, actually. So when Lord Ram and Ravan, the fight was happening, there was the bridge built, Sedu Bandhan, and Hanuman and all the monkeys helped them. But there was a squirrel who was taking a small pebble and just pushing it. And Hanuman is like, what are you doing? We can never build a bridge like this. But Lord Ram is like, don't underestimate him. He is doing what he can according to his capacity. So don't think, I can't study Sanskrit, I can't read Bhagavad Gita slokas. That's okay. So Bhagavad Gita is made into such a simple language to you by translating into different languages, especially Prabhupada. So it's very easy. You don't have to read the Sanskrit version. You can read English, the translation, and try to understand. Whatever possible we can do. When Hanuman's tail was on fire, he burned the whole Lanka. So he served the Lord. So any small service to the Lord is always accepted. You have the right to perform your prescribed duty, Arjuna, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. So that we will see tomorrow, Karma Yoga. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So we are all like this. There are 3 modes of material nature. We will learn later in the Bhagavad Gita. Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna, who's controlling us. Okay. So Krishna says, perform your duty, Arjuna. Abandon all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So don't worry about the after result. No, you do your best, God will do the rest. So when we are working, work. But then don't expect the results, might be it success or failure. But it's up to the Lord. No, we just have to do our duty. Dhyayato Vishayam Pumsa. So in the first half of the second chapter, Krishna speaks about soul. So the soul concept is clear to everyone. Can you get a yes or no? Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay. So if any question, please put it in the end. So we understood we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And the soul has undergone 84 lakh species of life and have evolved into human form. And in human form, Jalaja Navalakshani, then Chadur Lakshani Manava. So in the aquatics, there are 9 lakhs, and human form, there are 4 lakhs. I was wondering, 4 lakhs, that's based on your consciousness. We'll see what are the different consciousness level a person can be. To know about God, that is highest consciousness. So we don't miss the second chance. I mean, we have got a chance where we can inquire about God. I can't call any cats and dogs and make them learn Bhagavad Gita. They won't understand. They can't. So that is the difference between animals and us. Humans, the 4 things which we do, Aharam, Nidra, Bhayam, Maithunancha, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, that's common to animals. Animals also sleep, we eat, they eat. But what is that which makes us different from them is dharma. We can do our dharma. So our dharma is to know about the Lord, inquire about the Lord. So, and about self. Unless you know who we are, how can we know who God is? So we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And the soul is situated in the heart. We can't see the soul. It's 1 by 10,000, the tip of the hair. But when the death comes, the soul leaves the body and takes another body. Okay? And the karma continues. But we should end the cycle of birth and death. Now Krishna says how different anger, lust and all comes. Dhyayato Vishayam Pumsa Sangasteshu Bajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodha Bijayate. While contemplating the objects of senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. Krodha bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti bhamshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. So now I'll show the flow chart how it happens. So first is contemplating the objects. Okay, we want it, and we have some desire, we have attachment to it. Okay, like I want an iPhone. I have so much attachment, desire to have it. So I feel attached to it. I see the YouTube videos of iPhone and all that. And then from attachment, lust, like greed to have it. And then from lust, I am not able to buy an iPhone, anger arises. No, I'm not getting what I want, there is anger. And once anger comes, what happens? From anger, complete delusion arises. I forget everything. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. I'm so confused. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. I forget who I am. And when intelligence is lost, I fall down again to the material pool. So this is what happens. We burst out. So these are the different causes and after effect of anger. So in the mind, we have thinking, willing, and feeling and willing and doing stage. So first you have contemplating, positive or negatively. Then you have attachment for it. Then it leads to lust and unsatisfied lust. That means you're not able to buy the iPhone. There is anger. iPhone is just an example. But anything, when you think, why did I get angry? It's because I wanted something and it didn't happen. Okay. And I expected something, but it came out something else. So that's anger comes. Then when you're angry, there's delusion and there is bewilderment, confusion. And then there is loss of intelligence, and then one falls down into gross material existence. These are the 8 stages of fall down, which Bhagavad Gita explains. Raga dvesha vimuktastu vishayan indriyascharan atmavashir videyatma prasadam adhigacchati. When a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his sense through the regulative principles of freedom, can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So why are we doing this? We're controlling the senses and everything so that we get the mercy of the Lord. Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. This is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. So if you're conscious of the fact that I am not this body, someone gossips about you. How many of you get angry in your workplace? You're not there and you came to know that someone speaks bad about you, right? All of you? Yeah. Yes. Why? Why do we get angry? You are spirit soul. You're not this body. You are not Saurabh Prabhu. You're not Lekha. You're not Kushan Prabhu, Sudeep. Okay, all of you. You're not the body, right? You're spirit soul. But still, why do we get angry? Did you ever think about it? Okay, they're talking about me. They're talking about so-called Aishwarya. But Aishwarya is the designation to this body. In this life, my soul have undergone 84 lakh species of life and have come here. They are talking about someone called Aishwarya. And how does it become me? Because the so-called me is spirit soul, not this body, right? It's tough to apply practically in life. Yes, we get disturbed when people speak behind us. But then, yeah, we get angry and because we are attached to this body. That's the right statement. We are attached to this body, right? We are attached to everything. Yes. Attachment or desires. Ramchandra Prabhu, you're right. Absolutely right. Yes, because of attachment. I'm so attached to my body. I'm so attached to everything which I possess because I think I'm this body. I have the false identification that I'm this body, forgetting the real me, the real soul. So if you really understand that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, then what is the next step? What am I supposed to do as a spirit soul? So we are not human beings with spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings with human experience, right? So that is the right aspect of Bhagavad Gita speaks. So Arjuna, why are you lamenting? Oh, it's sinful to kill Dronacharya. Oh, there's so much compassion for my cousins. Krishna is like, they are not this body, they are spirit soul. Now you do your dharma, you do your kshatriya, as a kshatriya, you do your dharma. No enjoyment. Why? Even if you lose or win, you're going to enjoy. Indecision, people are going to speak bad about you, and we should not feel that. Okay, so Prabhupada was like that, never disturbed. He was never disturbed in whatever situation in life was, because I think we need to change the way we think. Change the way you think, and having positive thoughts help us achieve a balanced perspective in life, right? The thinking. So you saw the subtle body, it's mind, intelligence, false ego. What is mind? Mind is the thinking, willing, and feeling. Now, this mind makes you have positive thoughts, and there is negative thoughts coming always. How do you take up the positive thoughts? by developing some spiritual values in life, something spiritual, because the soul always wants something, and you should give the food for the soul. Like the bird in the cage, you should feed the bird, then the bird becomes active. Same way, our soul, our mind should be happy, and then it keeps us motivated, right? So these are the books you can purchase. So it comes in a package. Okay, there is Science of Self-Realization. It's also called Atma Gaveshan. So the Atma Gaveshan book, which is a really book, okay, really nice book. You don't have to read Bhagavad Gita if you don't want, but then at least read this Science of Soul. And here, even a cardiac surgeon, so many speaks about how the soul is. So what happens during cardiac surgery? What happens? We remove the heart and we transplant. So if the soul is situated in the heart, what happens is, like example, there is a carpenter, okay? Your chair, the chair you are sitting on at work, it is getting repaired. So you have to get up and you shift your place for some time. And the chair is repaired, and again you come back and sit. Same way, the heart is just an organ, a physical organ, but the soul for some time just shift its position. And once the heart is repaired and another heart is kept, the soul comes back and sits there. That's it. So it's not like leaving out of the body. So some of you have heard about out of body experience, near death experience. Did anyone hear about them? Out of body experience, near death experience, or someone had experience like that, might be undergoing a surgery. Someone sees that, oh, the soul was just outside the body, and just then they got a second life, or they came back. Or you heard about something like birthmarks. A child would have died because in the previous janma he would have died with a gunshot, and the next life he'll come with a birthmark. Yes, Abhishek Prabhu, what did he hear?
I was a little. My uncle used to tell me a story that one of his friends, he used to do the meditation. So he had reached that level of meditation that his soul could actually depart and could go anywhere. So one time what had happened was his soul actually departed, and before he was sleeping, he was a little thirsty. So the soul departed, and soul was, I mean, he was thirsty, and thirst was there at the back of his mind. So the soul went into the pot. So we used to have in India, we have the clay pots. So it went into the pot.
Wow.
The pot was opened, and then someone came and drank the water from the same pot, and he put the lid on top of that pot.
And what happened to that person?
That person was sleeping all that time. He could not come to that conscious. So the moment that lid was opened, he came back into life.
Well, that's so amazing to hear that. Okay, so I have heard patients saying that sometimes you give general anesthesia to the patient. Okay, so you give general anesthesia, that means the person is not aware of what's happening. It's a GA, general. Like not unless spinal anesthesia, you get anesthetized only below the umbilicus, but so you know what's happening in the theater. And we keep some nice music for the patients so that they are so little calm. But then for general anesthesia, it doesn't matter, because whatever music you play, they're not going to listen. They are anyway anesthetized completely, GA, general. But then still, there are patients who come and say, I heard the whole song and conversations you said during the surgery time. And we were like, how come? How did he hear? He was anesthetized completely. And the surgeon, the anesthetist is like, no way he can hear. But still, he could hear. So, and there's something called a near death experience. Like when you go to ICU, there are people who are ventilated and all. But they still, we don't expect them to come out. We thought, okay, it's done and it's time for them to leave. But a miracle happens in medical history that sometimes such patients come back to life. No, they might be near to death, and almost the best example is CPR. When you give a cardiopulmonary resuscitation, when you resuscitate a person, that soul would have actually left, because we'll see a dead line in the monitors. But then when you give the pumping, external pumping, it's done for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and you bring back them to life. So what is happening? The soul just left the body and again came back. So yes, So things like that is there. So that is near-death experience where people can really know what was happening as this person was sleeping, but he know that there was the soul was there. So this is what. And there's one more person called I forgot her name, what it was. Who was that? Which Mahatma Gandhi inquired? Shanti Devi, reincarnation of Shanti Devi. We'll post it in the WhatsApp group. She died because of her childbirth. Okay, and then after 1 year, she was reborn in some other place, and she could remember. She was in Delhi. She could remember in Mathura, and she was in some other place. She could remember in her previous life who she was and who her husband was. She also recognized her own son. She was 10 years old. Her son was 10 years old. She was 9 years because she took rebirth again after 1 year, and she could remember all her previous life. How is that possible? She could identify. And Mahatma Gandhi was so curious to know, how does she know about this person? And when she went back to Madura, she could identify, this is my husband, this was my son. And she was talking about everything, secrets and everything. And the husband is like amazed. This was the secret only me and my wife knew. How did she know? So that means it's Punarjanma. She took a rebirth. What about birthmarks? You see birthmarks of so many people, they would have died because of some disease or something, and it's carried. The impression is carried to the next life, right? You see small children playing violins and singing so many songs and so much talented. Where is that coming from? So there is past life memories, and so these are all the scientific proof for the soul. So the existence of soul, for those who don't believe in this existence of soul. But yes, there was a question about the human life. Yes, after 84 lakh species of life, we get human form of life. And in that human form, there are different consciousness level. Based on different consciousness, we'll speak about consciousness in the coming chapters. So in this chapter, you just know, this body, that you are not a body that has a soul. You are a soul that has a visible part called body. So we are misidentifying. We think we are this body. Everything related to this body is mine. That's the too much of attachment. And when we lose something, we lament, right? And what about death? So many deaths are happening nowadays, and people are getting depressed and things like that. But Krishna says to come out of it, because he says death is just a normal process. There's no death for the soul. Okay, whoever is born, take rebirth. Whoever is taken rebirth have to die. But then the rebirth, if you have got moksha, liberation, then you go back to the Lord. No more, you're ending the cycle of birth and death. And how is that possible? We'll learn tomorrow how to end the cycle of birth and death. No medical history can give you a remedy for death, but spiritual life can give a remedy for death. Okay, so this is a takeaway lesson for today. I think we are done. So we need to take care of our soul. Don't forget you're missing the point. We are missing the point. The soul is in our heart. Along with the soul, the Paramatma, super soul, is also in the heart. He's so patient. The Lord is so patient to you that every janma you took, even an ant, you become an ant, you become a tree which stands for 500 years. You become an ant which will die in 10 days, 20 days. But still, the Paramatma, the Lord, comes with you. Wherever the soul goes, not only me, all of us. So just imagine how merciful the Lord is. Even now, the Lord is so merciful. He made us understand what we are. Why is Krishna saying that you're not this body, you're spirit soul? So that we understand what we are supposed to do, and to bring up a spiritual life in us, a spiritual balance in us, so that we don't miss the point. After getting this rare human form of life, if someone is not inquiring about God, about the soul, then we are a miser. We are not using it for the right cause. Okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We are done with the class today.